Hi, it's Gemma. This episode comes with a warning of strong language, honest opinions, and some topics that you might find upsetting. But that's why you love us. We can't help but overshare. Hi, it's Gemma.
And Lauren.
Get ready to listen to our innermost secrets
In the Oops, We Overshared Again podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to the next episode of Oops, We Overshared Again. I'm Gemma.
And I'm Lauren. Look at that little intro.
I know. Come on. First time and everything.
Yeah.
Today, Lauren's going to be telling me all about human design.
I am. In my limited knowledge, I am going to be telling you.
It may be limited, babes, but it's far more than my knowledge.
Yes, no. So I am definitely not an expert by any means, but I do use human design within my work quite a lot. I use human design with my clients to its like basic level, basically. And so do you not know anything?
No, only that you said I'm a something generator.
A manifesting generator.
That's the one.
Yeah. You'll actually quite like some of that, actually. It's going to tie back into some things we've spoken about before.
And the only other thing I remember you telling me, because Elliot's a reflector.
He is.
And that's like 1%. And the only other person that you know that's that is Sally.
Yes, although one of my clients now is as well.
Oh.
But
more of them.
Yeah, their reflectors are like super, super rare and really interesting because Sally always describes it as she's like a sponge. Like she soaks up whatever energy anyone else has got. It kind of soaks into her and stuff. So it can be quite a heavy. Do you know what I mean? Because if somebody's feeling good, it's amazing because she'll feel good. But if someone's feeling sad, then she might start feeling sad or frustrated or whatever it is. But it's also really interesting. And I think what makes reflectors are like the best at understanding other people because they can literally understand what they're feeling.
Yeah. Like empathy to a whole new level.
Yeah, absolutely. Sally's mentioned to me a few times, actually. And if anyone doesn't know, Sally's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
He works with me. She's said to me before, she was like, I think you'd make a really good reflector because you're like empathetic and whatever else. And I'm like, I think it would kill me. I don't think I could do it. I would be so, can you imagine like my anxious brain, but also feeling every single thing that everybody else is feeling? Like it just...
Absolutely. And trying to deal, like for argument's sake, if you were next to me feeling my anxiety on top of your own anxiety.
Exactly. I couldn't do it. You can only be in like 1% because there's only that many people that can actually handle it. I think that's where
there's only that many people that can actually hack it and deal with the repercussions. Oh,
I reckon so. But the concept is very woo-woo, but we will explain. I mean, this whole flipping series is very woo-woo, to be fair. But
it's a woo-woo series.
I like woo-woo, but this for me even goes a little bit. I don't know if it really resonates with me, but I will explain it anyway. It's basically the idea is that we are souls primarily that live many different lives. And before we... Oh, that's my alarm to tell me to come onto the podcast. It's just randomly going on. I'm here, don't worry. Before we come down into this current human form, we basically sign some sort of contract that it basically makes our personality a certain way, the way we work a certain type of way, the way that it's literally everything, like the types of anxieties we have, that everything, because we're supposed to fix things that we've done in our previous life or learn lessons from things we've done in our previous lives. So the idea is that the reason you came down as a manifesting generator, which we'll go into, and you've got all these specific things about you, even your anxiety and even whatever, is because for whatever reason, you had to work through that in this life to either heal from or maybe as karma for things that you did in a previous life.
I've got a question for you on that, and you might not be able to answer it.
Go on.
But what's the end game?
I believe we're supposed to, and I may be wrong on this, I think the idea is that we keep coming back until we figure out how to be like the best version of ourselves.
And then what?
I don't know if we then stop coming back, But the idea is that it's very hard because obviously we don't know what we've done previously. And
Yeah.
so we just make the same mistakes over and over again. And when I've had, and obviously we spoke about it a little bit with Jasmine, but when I've had past life regressions and things like that, they've been very like, I'm like, oh, here we go again. And obviously I don't currently know that here we go again. I mean, I do it now a little bit, but therefore you're just destined to kind of make the same mistakes over and over again. But the idea is that now my personality is maybe different, maybe my family life's different, maybe my friends are different, and I should be handling it in a different way than I did last time. And actually, I guess in some ways, maybe the more enlightened we come as a whole, the fact that we're now looking into stuff, maybe we're all more likely to actually accomplish it. Because part of me is like, if I'm going to stop coming down, do I want to figure it out?
But then think there must be something much better.
Yeah.
If the end goal is to not come down here, if this is the shit bit,
Yeah.
how cool must the bit be that you're aiming towards, right?
Yeah, true. And we're purposely being sent down here to deal with trauma and to deal with like
To get to this better place.
yeah, true.
That
So
must be a pretty cool place.
I think that's the idea behind it. So it's quite woo-woo, but what I will say is whether you believe in the, because it's quite a big concept to get your head around, and I totally get that. I think if you believe in where human design came from or not, it's one of those things of, for me, when I have the information in front of me, I can't deny the information. So it's like, well, I don't understand necessarily where it came from, but I still believe it because I can't not, because everything that it says about me, for me anyway, is really accurate.
It's funny though, isn't it? Because I was thinking this the other day about like stuff, not about human design, but about loads of different things that people bloody thousands of years ago, even hundreds of years ago, came up with and had these like human design or like astrology, or someone decided to learn like to make up about reflexology or homeopathy or all these different things, medicine, like someone's come up with that. And yet, here we are with all this technology at our fingertips. I struggle to know how to put a Canva post together, if we're being honest. So, but isn't it mad? Like how somebody, yeah. I mean, woo-woo or not, you got to admit, there's got to be a level of knowing there of some degree for someone to even come up with it.
Well, there are theories, and again, I don't know these, and this is just through a conversation with a friend that went down a rabbit hole that was like giving me information, but I never went down the rabbit hole myself, was about the idea that thousands of years ago, we were a lot smarter than we are right now, and knew a hell of a lot more than we know right now about the stars and the moon and about...
Did you watch that Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix?
No. Is that about that?
Yeah, watch that. That's really, me and Ben finished watching it recently. Very interesting. Definitely down that rabbit hole you're saying you went down or didn't go down maybe.
Yeah.
It's about the proof, and this guy is like going around finding things that was like from like 20,000 years ago, when we should have just been like cavemen banging our heads against a wall. And it was like really intricate carvings and like intricate architecture and stuff pointing to the stars, and yeah.
Interesting. Because that's the thing, right? Because you look at things like even like Stonehenge, like the man-made wonders of the world, and you've got like the pyramids and all of that kind of stuff. It's not only what were they doing, like what is it? And that question that comes behind those types of things as well, where theories randomly get thrown and then years later they go, actually, no, it wasn't that, it was this. But it's also, regardless of any of that, whatever they were trying to accomplish, it's because it could have been something super spiritual, or at the end of the day, it could have not been, like, who knows? But even the like actual physical act of putting them there, and the like type of technology that we would have to use to be able to do that.
We wouldn't know that now. It's
absolutely mad. And actually, it's just given me a bit of a moment. The person that I was speaking to about it said she was watching a YouTube video, and it was saying that we used to have the power, and apparently this will come back now, scientists are starting to look at it now. They reckon we used to have the power to be able to move things with our mind, and now there
like Matilda.
Basically, yeah. And now there are a very small number of very niche, probably considered not that clever scientists. I can imagine they're getting mocked quite a lot, that are playing with the idea of trying to get like even something like water to move, like just to have like a bit of a ripple, to try and kind of start us on that trajectory again.
I mean, if they're handing out that kind of power, I'll go for that. How
Me
nice
too.
would it be just to like lay there and be like, Windows open,
But
phone, come here.
can you imagine how easy it would have been to build Stonehenge had that been true?
Well, you wouldn't have had to. Yeah, I mean, have you seen Matilda? It was a piece of cake, except for when the wind blew the doll into the thing, and Miss Honey's doll nearly got lost in a tree, and then Miss Trunchbull found her bow in the tree. Well, that was a bit dramatic, wasn't it?
I love
Oh,
that
no,
that's your
it was
reference
golden.
point.
I love that film.
I know
I
you.
always wished I could move things with my mind. Maybe now my dream's going to come true.
There we go. There we go.
Maybe this is the manifestation I'm generating.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was going to mention to you about the lottery situation and about your feeling like one day you'll just win the lottery. And you
Mm.
are a very specific manifester. So if you get super clear on what you want, you're a lot more likely to make it happen than anyone else. Or than me, I should say.
Well,
I'm not.
TikTok lottery.
Yeah. Maybe just keep saying it over and over again.
I mean, I do say it a lot now.
Maybe start it, because they say sometimes when you manifest, you should talk about it as though you already have it. So maybe you should start
Booking viewings for houses that I don't have yet.
I mean, it didn't work for you last time. Do you know though, it's a fun hobby. It's a fun hobby regardless. Go look
God
at
loves a trier.
I might have told you the story before. I went to Gucci once in Canada, and I tried on a pair of heels, and they asked me if I wanted them to be reserved so I could come back for them later, and I said yes, and they were like $10,000, and I was like, I love that you think I could have them reserved. That's what I'm excited about right now. So it's the same thing. You go look at a nice house and you just feel like a bougie bitch automatically because they assume that you have the money, because who the fuck goes and looks at a house unless they do?
Well, exactly. Me, apparently. But I was convinced I was going to get that money.
Mm.
And also, the house wasn't even for me. It was my grandparents.
Oh, no, I know. It was a lovely act.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's, I'm sure it's on its way.
There we go. So
To be fair, the post has been a nightmare lately with the Royal Mail. So maybe the same with my manifestation. There's been a bit of a hold up at the sorting office.
Yeah.
Just got to be patient. Maybe like all my post comes once every few weeks in a big pile, my money will come in a few weeks in a big pile too.
Fingers crossed. I'm here for it.
I feel it's coming. Well, when I win big, we'll go somewhere really nice.
Oh, thanks.
Where should we go? I
don't know. Where do you fancy going?
Really want to go Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, always wanted to go Vegas. But I don't really feel like I'm in the mood for that. I feel something a bit more chill.
Okay.
Like an island, somewhere hot.
Okay.
Hot and sunny, relaxing. Anyway, we digress. Human design.
I'm here for that. Should I just share my screen so you can see it?
Then, I mean, we'll give a blow by blow for the people that aren't watching us on YouTube.
Yeah, but then at least you can see it while I'm talking to you, because I've got it on my screen.
Thank you.
And then if anybody wants to see it, they can, but equally, if not, then it's fine because we're going to talk about it anyway.
What the bloody hell is that?
So that is your body.
Nice.
So you're spiritual enough to know about the chakras, right?
I am, yeah. So they are my chakras there.
The middle ones are
4, 5, 6. Where's number 7?
So, I don't know because I don't actually know anything about chakras.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So at the top, so the chakras would be like your crown, your third eye, throat, heart, solar plexus, sacral, root. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, but basically they've got slightly different names, but yes, that is basically effectively what they are.
Nice one.
So basically the idea of human design, because it's a lot more recent, I can't remember, don't quote me on this, but I feel like we're talking like 70s or 80s kind of time. These are like added ones. Oh, the solar plexus is down here on here. But there's different things being put in. So that G center must be new then. And then the solar plexus is here. So you have extra centers basically. And the idea is that you have both defined centers in your body and undefined centers. And if they're colored in this like purpley color, they are defined. And if they're not colored in, they're undefined. Okay.
Right. What does that mean?
Cool. So the way I think of it is when it's defined, it's almost like it's got like a bit of a wall around it. Like you can't be influenced by anybody else in that area very easily because you're just basically really sure of that part of yourself. But you probably then also find it a little bit hard to understand how other person feels in that area as well, because you're so like, no, this is the way kind of thing in that area.
Yeah.
Whereas in the undefined parts, you're a lot more fluid and open. So for you, you've got both your crown, which is your head, and your ajna, which is, so your head is where you get ideas, and then your ajna is like almost like your processing part of your brain, and where you start to make sense of those ideas and kind of, because you know, like two people could be presented with the same information. Like this is a really random historical thing, but even if you consider like something like racism or homophobia, you get two people that are presented with the same information, and then two different people can process it in like incredibly different ways and go, well, therefore I don't like any of those people. And some people will go, well, it was just, you know, it's like,
right.
It's the way you process the information, and you're quite open in that sense.
Like, so quite open-minded.
Basically, yeah. And you'll be able to understand other people's point of views. If other people give you ideas, you'll be able to kind of listen to that and take them on board. A couple of my clients have got all defined at the top, and it's a lot more tricky to give them ideas because they're a bit like, no.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they have to come to it themselves for them to even acknowledge it, because it's just, they're a lot more, yeah. Whereas I'm undefined in all of these top three, which I'll talk about this one in a second. And I find it easiest to come up with an idea if I'm talking to somebody about it.
Yeah.
And then I kind of go, and if I talk to somebody else that's a bit like that as well, I can kind of be like, oh, and we could do this. And they're like, yeah, and this. And I kind of, and it builds the idea. Yeah. But you also have to be a little bit careful if you're undefined at the top, because there's always like a pro and a con to every area of it. But the kind of con for being open, I guess, is that you could, if I said to you, Gemma, it would be a really good idea to do this, you could almost get like swept up in that and start doing it without really actually.
Which I do that. I come up with an idea, but then someone will say something and I second guess myself constantly, and will be like, oh, maybe because Lauren actually said I shouldn't do that, I should do this. And I would go with what you've suggested over listening to myself.
There you go. So it can kind of allow you to get swept up. But what's really cool about yours, so I'm undefined in the head, the ajna, and the throat, whereas your throat is defined. Right. The throat is the way you communicate then what has come from the top. So even if I gave you an idea and you did just completely get swept up in it and do it, it still wouldn't sound like my idea when you do it, like if it was a work thing, because you can't communicate in a way that doesn't sound like you.
Yes.
So it would still sound like you anyway, whereas I could do it, and it could almost like just like it would be more obvious that it wasn't my idea, because it wouldn't necessarily sound like it was coming from me, whereas you can't communicate in a way that's not you.
Yeah, no, okay, that's very true actually.
Mine is to like a weird level, and I do it with like accents and things as well. It's not even just written word. Like I pick up accents in like very quickly, especially northern accents or certain foreign accents stick with me, and they come very, very quickly. And I have to be very careful when I'm out and about.
It's funny you say that though, because I do that exact same thing, but I'm coloured in. I'm coloured in though.
So I always wondered if that was because of my open throat, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a thing that I do.
I don't know. Yeah, because I do that literally.
Interesting.
If I spend time with my family in Devon, I end up with a Devon twang.
It's
And
it's quite, because I can do it very rarely. It doesn't happen very often, but especially certain like Asian accents, like kind of India area, I can pick it up almost immediately. So somebody could be stood behind me in a queue. And that's not a very,
start talking it with an Indian accent.
and it's really not very smart, let me tell you. But it's also not any type of purposeful. It just comes.
Oh yeah, no. Maybe that's your open throat. I'm more like, for example, when I was a kid, we went to America and I would like to visit. We had family friends that were living out there. We went out there for a few weeks and I made friends with this American girl and I was just fully talking American after about 3 days. And I
Do you
come
know?
back to England and was fully talking American, but not like that, not to
Not that
that
quick.
degree.
I was like that when I went to Canada, though. I had a full Canadian accent for a good few weeks when I got home. But I think with the American and Canadian kind of accent, we hear it all the time anyway. And
Yeah.
I wonder if our brains just naturally, like mum used to say when I used to play with my Barbies, I used to talk in American accent.
Yes.
That's what was on the TV, and that's what I was probably more so when we were kids, because we weren't making really anything here then.
The Indian thing's a bit interesting though.
It is really interesting. Oh my God, do you reckon I have like an Indian past life and therefore it comes to me dead easy?
Maybe. Oh, do you know what kind of guest we need to get on here? We need to get a past life regression-y one to come in, put you under, and bring all your past lives to the podcast as special guests.
That'd be
That'd be
amazing.
awesome, wouldn't
It's
it?
so cool. Do you know, my
You've
coach,
had loads as well. Next series could just be your past lives.
oh my God, that'd be amazing. We just have past life guests the whole way through.
I'll just interview all your past lives
That'd be amazing.
to get the goss. So, what's the class of 1600s?
I was talking to my coach Jess the other day, and I haven't looked into it yet. You have to pay for it. I don't think it's very much. I think it's like a tenner. But there's this thing called, oh, what is it called? I can't for the life of me remember now. But it's this astrological thing done on locations in the world.
Oh yeah.
And basically the concept is that, you know, like sometimes when you go away and you just, and it can be in this country, it can be in a foreign country, whatever, and you just feel really at home like in that place, because for whatever, like there's just certain places that feel like natural to you, and like you could see yourself living there a lot easier than you could certain other things like that. And I guess you kind of just reason it as, well, I like the place. But there's this map, and I haven't looked into it, so I don't know how accurate it feels for me, but there's this map where you can click on different countries and different even areas of countries, especially for like things like America or Australia or somewhere that's quite big and has got states, and Africa and everywhere, and it will basically tell you any connections you have to that place in any of your lifetimes.
What?
based on your, like, I guess your the information you put in based on your soul and all of this. But anyway, she was doing it, and she is in Rome at the moment, and she's been to Rome. She was a nanny in Rome, which is where she decided to become a coach like a few years ago, and I think she was there 5 years ago. And she was saying she's always naturally felt that, and when she put it into her there was this whole thing about how she's got loads of connections to Rome in different different parts and things. And there's also the idea of maybe that's why, you know, like some people are like, oh, I've always wanted to go to Australia, and other people are like, could give or like I could take it, but not, you know, I'm not bothered. There's the idea that we get drawn to certain places for that reason as well.
I don't understand about that though. And you know me, I'm very spiritual. I'm all about that life.
Go on.
Bring it on. Created like an electronic Akashic records or something that they're tapping into to find out this information? Is there a Google for past life regression? Could we just type in where have I lived before? What have my past lives been, rather than having to go into it properly?
I mean, who knows? And again, I haven't used it, so I don't know.
That just seems a bit weird. That seems a bit much.
Does.
It does seem a bit much.
I agree. But then also, I always think all of these things do, and then I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So
I would be very interested to how they've done that though.
Yeah, I know, me too. I'm kind of interested. I might give it a go because I'm intrigued. And
how much is it? A tenner?
It might. It's. I think it's like that maximum. I think it was a small amount. but I'll have a look, and I'll make sure
We'll
it's
find out. Maybe we'll find out where we were together.
I reckon something else I need you to get you to download.
Go on.
It is related though. I need you to download an app that I have on my phone. I've got both Sally and Toya to download it, and you can look at your bond together and stuff like that, and how you connect together. And also, occasionally, my mantra for the day will be about you, and yours will occasionally be about me, and things like that as well. My mum's on it as well, and I also programmed Jamie in it, but he didn't do it himself.
Oh, we're mentioning Jamie.
All right. So I'm gonna get you to download this app. It's called The Pattern.
The Pattern.
Yeah, and it's got like a weird black swirly thing. Definitely worth a download. Yeah, that one. Download that app because it's really fascinating. And it's based on astrology. So it will ask the same details that you have to have for your human design, which for anyone like listening or watching is your name, your place and date of birth, and also your time of birth, which is the bit that some people don't actually know, but it's important, especially with human design, less so with astrology, unless you're me, because I'm on a cusp, so I need my time for it to make sense. Have you got it?
Yeah, it's just downloading. There we go, the pattern.
But that's what you need, and it's a really cool thing. And then you can add friends on it, so me and Gemma could be friends, and like I say, I've got other friends on there, and it's really fun because it will connect. And occasionally when we share something in common, like it has timings on there, like within the next 60 days you're going to be entering a new era or whatever it is. I'm on one of those at the moment. It will then, if anybody else is on that pattern that's a friend of mine, it will tell us that we're doing that together, which is really cool as well. Just find the whole thing really fascinating and interesting, honestly. But yeah, you're not being a very good co-host right now, Gemma.
I'm doing this thing you told me to do. Do you need me to do it right now? Can it wait?
I mean, it can wait. We can always do it later.
I'm just trying to
smack it onto the end if you want.
Snack it on the end.
We can snack it on the end of the episode.
Oh, okay. Well, it's downloading now.
Yeah, let's talk human design, and then we'll put on the end.
Do it.
Stay tuned to the end, and we will be back with the pattern, with Gemma's pattern, like your human pattern. Anyway, human design.
Yes.
Human design. So you've got your centers, which we've spoken about. Then you have all these gates, which are these like bits that connect them all together. This is where you lose.
Just one quick question before you go on to the gates. Why is it so at the throat chakra is purple, which you said means it's very defined. Yeah. My root is like a yellowy orange.
It's the same.
Oh, okay. So the colour's irrelevant. It's just if it's got a colour, it's defined. If it's not, then
yeah, I always find it interesting. I didn't know you had a defined root. I remember talking to you about it before, and I find it really interesting because your root is how you deal with pressure, and which I guess actually at work you're very good at that. But it's also like how grounded you are. And I mean, maybe that's just me making an assumption based on how I am with my anxiety, but I would consider you to not be a particularly grounded person. But maybe you are more so than I give you credit for.
I feel that the thing with me is that the anxiety that I experience is rooted, see what I did there, rooted in trauma. And actually in a crisis or in a in circumstances of extreme stress, I'm actually very grounded and very calm. It's more when I'm then relaxed, my body's like, oh, that trauma that you didn't process, we're going to give that back to you now. And it sort of like then comes back tenfold, which is why when I'm in a safe and secure environment, that tends to be for me when anxiety in the past has come up. Obviously it does come up for me more when I am not looking after myself and stuff now that I've done the work on it. But for years it wasn't until so anyway, I'm off on a bit of a tangent there, but
no,
I do agree with that to a degree. I do well under pressure, but it's because I almost suppress everything until the pressure eases off a little bit, and then it all comes back up to the surface.
Well, what's interesting about your chart in general is you're very cut off from your head. Like if you look at it, you've got your entire body as like super cool, like fine, and then your head is on its own, like being whatever, whereas mine, and I'll put it up somewhere in the podcast so people can look at it, but it's mine is a lot more sporadic. Like I have the white bits at the top, and then I also have a few other centers that are also white.
Ah,
Whereas
right.
yours are very like, you've got your head that's just chilling on its own, doing its own thing, flailing around, and the rest of your body is like, oh, we're good, we know what we're doing.
See, and that I wouldn't agree. Well, my body's I have very
Issue.
in-body responses, definitely.
But then you've also got, so these mean different things. So you've got kind of like the direction you want to take and things like that, and being clear on that, which is interesting as well, because I don't think recently that's necessarily been as true, but maybe that's because you're in your head. Your things like your ego, like it's loads of different areas, kind of is influenced. Do you know, I wonder actually, and I don't know this for a fact, but I wonder if you're defined in a lot of these areas because of your manifestor, which we'll talk about, because
Okay.
you can manifest, which means you have really good instinct. So it makes sense that that's defined.
Right.
And things like that. So I wonder if a lot of it's part of your type, which again, we'll go into. But basically, all of these things connect together. So if they're colored in with the kind of line that goes to them, it then makes the number in the center colored as well. And that all means stuff. It means that you have a strong connection between these areas. So in your case, you've got a connection between your throat and your spleen. That's where my knowledge starts to get a bit fuzzy.
Yeah.
But there are loads of other things that you can go into in terms of the gates and the kind of numbers and how they correspond, and how you can say that I've got a 20 in my throat and a 57 in my spleen, and somebody will be able to tell you exactly what that means. So
Well, we need to get a human design person on here next time.
we probably do, because I would love to learn that as well. But yeah, so all of that kind of means bits as well. But then you also, before we go down, you also have your arrows. Now I can remember all of yours off by heart, because all of yours are pointing left, which
You're going to say off the top of your head, which is funny because they're on my head.
they are at your head.
Is everyone's at their head?
Yes,
Okay.
but most people have some that go left and some that go right.
Oh.
So I don't think I've ever seen any that have gone all right, or I don't know if I've seen anyone that's gone all left.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah. Well, basically, yeah, they basically mean different things if they go left or right, and they mean the opposite to each other. So the top left one is about how you are with routine, and one means it doesn't mean you like routine, but it means you might, but it means you're good at, like, routine is helpful for you. And the other way means it's not helpful for you. You can have one if you like it, but you clearly don't have to, and it's fine. So they're like polar opposites of each other, right?
Yeah.
So yours is about routine, says routine is helpful for you, which is the opposite to me. Again, you might not always like it, but it's beneficial for you in terms of how productive you are.
Yeah, no, which I'll agree with
You
that.
have a routine. The second one is about your environment. And again, it's basically, it kind of goes hand in hand with the routine bit, but it says that it's easier for you if you're in a consistent environment to be productive. So for example, if you were like, I'm going to go on holiday and work, you might find that a lot harder than actually just working in your office type scenario.
I probably wouldn't end up doing anything, which is normally what happens when I take my laptop on holiday.
There you are. I'm the same. So my routine is the other way around, but I do prefer a consistent environment, which is interesting. And then you have, I'm going to forget which one's next now. How you take in information. Top right one is how you take in information. So it's called your digestion. And it doesn't necessarily mean, I think it can mean food actually, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. It means more like how you digest stuff.
Life.
Yeah. And it's either super detailed and specific information is needed for you to have like a firm understanding of it, and therefore be able to communicate it well and understand it, but also teach it. So like, for example, if you were going to do something for your coaching, I couldn't just say like, oh, try this method and just give it a go. You'd want to like research it and see exactly what it is and how it works and exactly what you need to be doing and stuff. So that's one side. And then the other way is you don't need that. You just need the overall picture and you can kind of just roll with it. You are a detail person.
Yeah.
So you like all of the information. I'm the opposite.
But then that's quite apparent though in that, for example, if our roles are reversed right now and I was trying to tell you about human design,
Mhm.
I would I would be like, I would need to know all the little bit, like, what do all the little numbers mean? What do all the little
True.
coloured bits mean? And be like, where did it come from? When did it originate? Who made it? What year? And all that. I would need to know the ins and outs of a duck's ass before I would even feel confident talking to anyone about it. Which
Yeah.
does have a massive, massive drawbacks, especially like you say within like the anxiety membership, because it's like, for example, like I had that the guest for crystals this month. I probably do know enough about crystals that I could talk to people that don't know anything about crystals, because I do love a crystal, but I don't trust because I don't feel I know the ins and outs about it enough that I've got someone in to do it.
It's interesting because I definitely have that insecurity a little bit. Like I always preface, I did at the beginning of this, like I'm not an expert. Don't know.
Mm.
I don't know everything. And I would
But look how
never
much information you do know. It's incredible.
see, I would never sell human design as a service on its own unless I knew everything.
Yeah.
But for me, the bits I know are enough to just like even that bit about like the head and how you get ideas, for example. I have clients that sometimes I feel like I'm beating my head against a wall and then I look at their chart and I'm like, cool, makes sense. Just let them do it.
Yeah.
And it just even that sort of stuff. And also it then makes them feel less guilty because they're like, oh, I'm being really difficult. And I'm like, no, it's fine. You're not. You're just that's how you are. It's fine.
You're not being a dick. It's just the way you're made.
You just are a dick naturally, innately. No. So it's handy in that sense. But yes, so basically you're like in terms of your lefts, I will talk about the bottom one in a second, but in terms of all of them, you're very structured, I guess.
Yeah.
Actually, I would say left is structured and right is less so. So you've got the need routine, need consistent environment, need all the information. And then your bottom one is that you are a specific manifester. So again, I'm not. So I'm only left on my environment. All the rest of mine are right. So you are a specific manifester, which means that if you get super, super clear about what you want, you are like, it's very good for you to get super clear, first of all, and be really detailed, which I guess goes hand in hand with the one above as well. But get super detailed about what you want and you're a lot more likely to make it happen. Now, that does have drawbacks. I have an ex-client who is a specific manifester and we always joke that she's like magic. She can, I'm like, if I could bottle and sell what you're able to do, I would be a freaking millionaire because she can go, oh, I'm going to sign 3 clients next week and she'll sign 3 clients. And I'm just like, that's just annoying. But also she won't sign 4 if she says 3 ever. So when you are getting specific on your manifestations, make sure that you're not when you put numbers on things and things like that, make sure you're not doing it out of fear because you'll limit yourself.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Yeah. So just be kind of optimistic in your manifestations because you might not get them, but you definitely won't if you're specific and you go lower, you'll only get the lower kind of number.
Although the other week when I just played the lottery and I said I'm going to win 10 million,
think what happened.
I won £5.60, but I mean I won something.
You did, but if you'd said I'm going to win £5.60, you'd have never won 10 million.
Well, so this is it. Aim high is the message I'm getting.
Basically, aim high, yes, is what I would say for specific. It also makes sense for you to be like, if you were going to move house, for example, you might want to, and say you wanted like this, you were very specific about what you wanted. It's good for you to have like a really like mental note of what you want.
Yeah.
And to be specific about it, which could be a bit of a pain in the ass as well, because then it's a bit awkward if you're like, you're like, well, no, that's not got a front door in the middle, next.
Yeah, I am like that. I am like that anyway. Before
You,
we moved into this house, I actually designed my house on Sims.
nice. Is it similar?
Yeah, but that's because this is like a box because it's a new build and my design skills on Sims are not great.
But yes, I think being specific is like a really good idea for you. Whereas for me, I'm a non-specific manifester, which basically means I can still manifest, but I have to do it in a way that is basically the opposite to what you get taught when it comes to manifestation. It's
Cool.
more that I just need to know. It's more about feeling.
So would you be like, I'm gonna feel good when I sign a client, for
Yeah,
example,
basically.
rather than I'm gonna sign 3 clients at the end of next week. You just be like, I'm gonna feel really good when I sign all these clients I'm gonna sign next week.
Yeah, kind of. Or it could even be like, I'm going to sign enough clients that I feel really comfortable and don't have to stress about money.
Got yeah.
But it doesn't matter what that number is. The feeling is more important. And actually the feeling is probably just as important for you as well, but that's not the way to manifest it. It's more the specific of what you want. But it means it's harder because we never know what we're going to get. But
True,
kind of
true.
requires a little bit more trust of, well, I only got 2, that's not fair, but maybe I was only supposed to have 2. But it's also a lot less pressure because, for example, wanting a house, I can say I want a house that's big enough, that's comfortable for me and a couple of kids, and that's like a lot more open for me to be able to find that, rather than.
But isn't it funny? Because I can't, even when I've said, like, I'm a very visual person anyway. But it's like, if I go, I want my dream house, I can tell you, like, I want a veranda, I want like, I could literally tell you room by room what my dream house would look like. Not so great at drawing, so I can't draw it for you, but like how many rooms it's got, like what the laundry room looks like, what the bathrooms look like, what the kitchen looks like. Like, I could literally not physically paint a picture because it would look like a load of boxes, but I could describe it to you in very minute detail.
It is interesting, and I think I've definitely been able to do that in the past. There was a time when I first signed up to the coaching certification that we did. You remember there was that exercise of like imagining yourself.
Oh,
There was
that
like
perfect day one.
something like that. Yeah, there was. And I remember picturing a house and it was on a lake and whatever. And there was all this stuff. And then it was only like a month after that, we went to B&Q because we were having the garden, we were having like the path moved to the side and we were like redoing it all and having decking put in. And when I was trying to picture the size of it, because you know me, I'm not detailed. I'm just like there and I'm like, how many tiles should we get? I'm there and again, not practically minded at all when it comes to that sort of stuff. And I'm there and I'm trying to picture the garden, and all I can picture is this damn garden in that meditation.
Okay.
Which was really interesting, but it's very rare. It doesn't happen very often. I'm a lot more. I think I changed my mind on what I want as well a lot. And I'm a lot more flowy. But then it doesn't really matter because I'm like, as long as I'm happy and comfortable, don't care. And then that makes sense for what this is saying. So
Yeah, no, I love that.
roll with it. And then you're a manifesting generator, there's generator, which is the most common. There's manifesting generator, which is the next common. Manifester, projector, and reflector. And manifesting generator is like an amalgamation.
Amalgamation.
Thank you so much. Of
Did I say that right?
I think so. Of
We'll
both
go with that.
manifester and generator. So you're kind of like both
Nice.
combined.
What are you?
Generator. So a manifester, as the name would suggest, is good at manifesting, but it also just good at making shit happen. Basically.
Yeah.
Good at getting things done if you want to do it. What's interesting is a manifestor is good at getting shit done, but a generator is led by excitement. So with a Manny Gen, you're probably only good at getting shit done if you're excited by it.
A Manny Gen.
You're a Manny Gen. So you are one of those people that could probably speed through tasks and get a lot done and is quite in fact, actually, again, weirdly, I was talking to Sally about it, and one of her friends is a manifesting generator. And for Sally and her like reflector energy that's just like getting sidetracked every 5 seconds, she is like, I'm so jealous of her because she can be like, I'm going to do this thing, and then half an hour later she's like, done it. And it's if she's excited about it, she can just make stuff happen. So you've got a really like clever energy in that. For me as a generator, it is very much like, unless I'm excited, there's literally no point in putting my energy into it because I'm not going to do a very good job. Like you're going to get
Yeah.
a half-assed version of it because that's just how I am. And that
Mhm.
was a really big turning point for me when I looked at my human design, because I've been through so many different jobs leading up to what I do now, and I always felt so fucking flaky and difficult, and like you can't stick to anything. And it was because I kept being put in these situations where I wasn't excited by it.
Yeah.
And it's given me a little bit of permission, this, to go, it's fine. It's because you weren't excited. And now that I am excited, I'm not being
Yeah.
flaky.
And you can, yeah, you feel you because you feel that almost that fire in your belly sort of thing.
Yeah. And so it's for that,
Oh.
I think it's really nice. The routine thing also, I found that because I used to be really annoyed at myself that I couldn't hold down a routine. And
It
now
makes sense because you don't need a routine.
I don't need one. And also I don't, not only do I not have to be very good at it, because I don't need it to function, it gives me a lot more, a lot more permission to be like, well, it doesn't matter. I can do something completely different every day and I'll still be just as successful as if I have a routine.
Yeah.
So it's for that, it's been quite nice for me personally. But yeah, so basically be excited, get shit done.
That's good. We like that. We like a bit of get excited, get shit done.
Yeah, it's a good energy. And then you make decisions based on your emotions. You should make decisions based on emotions, is what I should say. I'm the same.
Yeah.
So if you get inside your head too much and are like pros and conning it, you're actually more likely to make the wrong decision, because actually if you look back at your like instinct, you've got such good instinct that if you start to do
But if I'm overthinking it because my head isn't coloured in, then I'm getting into the wrong areas and then I get easily swayed by other people.
they fucking go. So basically, trust your emotions and go with that.
I'll go with that.
Even if it doesn't feel logical, it's
Yeah.
your body's telling you it's the right decision, basically. And if you don't, you'll be frustrated as fuck, which that we both share. I'm the same on those. And then you're a 2-4, which before we came on here, I told you that you were a contradiction.
Yes.
A 2-4 is a contradiction. So I have a 2 in my profile. I'm a 6-2.
Yeah.
But 2 is a hermit. So a 2 is the one that I hate about myself, but it's I don't hate it, but it's the one that I'm always like, no, I'm not. It's you're quite good in your own company. You don't mind being by yourself. You're quite chill on your own, and you're pulling a face. Your 4 is basically like the networking people person number.
So is this why I hate being on my own but also hate people?
Maybe. Interesting. So you're both a hermit and a socializer. That's your like 2 numbers.
That's fine. I go out with my shell on.
There we are. What I always say, I've got 2 clients that are 2-4s, and what I always say to them, which has resonated with them, because I didn't know if it would, I asked them, is I said, maybe you're a hermit unless you're with like your people, and then you don't mind socializing so much, because you're a hermit.
I'll agree with that.
Other than like 5 people.
Yeah.
And then you're quite good. Like you talk to me every single day.
True.
And I wonder if there's like certain people that you'll like tap into, and you can be social if you need to. Like obviously you can do that. You work in an office and like manage a team, and you have your membership where you've got all these people and whatever else.
Yeah.
But you're also like, at the end of the day, you're like, enough now, don't want to fucking talk.
Yeah.
I have a sign that I bought as a joke, not really, off Etsy.
Yeah.
It's like bunting that I put up at a party once, and it says, please leave by 9. And that I feel like sums up my hermit line.
Yeah. I'll take that.
Quite thoroughly. Yeah, and then these all mean stuff, but I can't remember off the top of my head what they mean, so I'll have to look at those afterwards.
Your
But
strongest sense is smell.
do you think your strongest sense is smell?
My God, right. So
I don't. Mine's not.
That is spooky because I've got like an incredible sense of smell, like scarily incredible.
I don't at all.
Like I'm some sort of sniffer dog. Like
I would say I am. I'm just trying to find my chart so I can have a look what mine is. I would say I'm actually the opposite. I have like no sense of smell at all.
So just before we finish, because obviously we have to be finished soon.
We do have to be finished. We can
Two
come back
things.
to we can come back to the pattern if you want to.
Okay, well, I have downloaded it. And also, just another thing to just blow your mind a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have you ever come across anyone with no definition?
Yeah, that's a reflector.
Is that all reflectors?
Yeah, so all reflectors will have absolutely none in here.
Because I've just downloaded Elliot's quick while we were
Is
doing
it?
it.
And it's all blank.
All blank.
All blank. It's a lot,
So
isn't
weird.
it? It's a lot. But I also say it's what would make him good at something like where he has to understand other people.
Yeah, well, his profile is a 6'3".
Oh, bless him. a six, I always say, is a really hard number. I'm a 6. And a 3 is about trial and error.
Yeah.
So he will thrive. He will thrive on basically giving things a go and deciding. It doesn't mean he'll like it. Like, I'm thinking of a very specific client that hates trial and error, but she has to do it. So it basically, and actually, as it's his second number, he probably won't like it. But it's actually, she might be a 6'3". I think she is. But the 3 basically means you have to give things a go. Like, you might want to do things perfectly, but mate, you're not going to know what's perfect unless you give it a go. So just give it a go. And then his 6 is, I think I know I am one, but I do think it's the most interesting number. It's where your life is split into thirds. So 0 to 30 is his first third, 30 to 50 and 50 plus. And his first 30 years, I'm not saying they'll be horrible, but he might just feel like he's just banging his head against a wall every 5, like I did with my jobs.
He'll come into his own at 30, basically.
He'll come into his own at 30, and then 50, that will be his like peace and love. I'm loving my fucking life, and I'm on top of the world.
Oh, good. Well, he's a guy. So
They
for context as well, we are referring to my 3-year-old child.
Yeah, they say you like move onto the roof and you can kind of look down with clarity and you just feel like absolutely fucking excellent. I always say a 6 is nice because it's the one where like there's no fear of getting older because you know it's always just going to get better and better.
Oh, well, that's good.
It'll be fine. But I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go and we'll record with the next person because we've got a guest on in a second. And then we'll swing back and we'll quickly look at the pattern before we finish the episode.
Oh, good. All right, then. Cool.
Let's do that. Cool. I'm going to stop recording and we'll do that. So, right. Shall we look at the pattern app? You ready?
I'm just pressing run the bond.
You want me to?
I'm running the bond as we speak.
You are running the bond. What's your first one say at the bottom? How does it describe our relationship to you? It says unique to me. Does it say
unique to me as well? Just for clarification, because we have to jump straight back into this. We're using this pattern app that Lauren's told me to download, and it gives you all your star sign information and everything else, and then you put other people, friends on it, and then it calculates how compatible you are in friendship and romance.
Yeah, you can pick which one you want to be, whether you want to be romance or friendship. And funnily, me and Gemma earlier, between us doing this, we ran it as romantic, and it was so funny because it was talking about all of our where we'd basically rub each other the wrong way. And we
sounds like we would be an old married couple that would argue a lot.
We would bicker a lot, basically. So it's probably a good job we're just friends.
Yeah.
For now. We'll see where life takes us.
You never know. Stranger things have happened.
Well, if you click on the ones at the bottom, so I've clicked on understanding. Do you have understanding?
Yes, amazing. You and Lauren have a powerful connection. It's like you've known each other before and are once again traveling the same path together. There's a deep sense of understanding and trust between you. This dynamic is meaningful and could be the basis for a close long-term relationship.
Agreed. Both energizing and positive. You help each other feel more confident and motivated to accomplish your goals. Directly or indirectly, you boost each other's careers and strengthen each other's place in the world. You two make incredible allies, which is so funny because we.
Where do you see that?
That's the next one, motivating. Do you not have that?
No.
That's interesting. So I have motivating, and it says that, which is interesting because we do help with each other's careers. Oh my god, it's 11:11. Because that's where we became friends.
Okay, so I've also got that I take you. You likely take Lauren seriously as a friend.
Okay.
As opposed to not. Almost like she's an authority. It could feel like she's someone you can trust and respect, which I do.
Thank you.
Possibly she'll be a good friend for the long term.
I would like to think so. I'm
Yeah.
not planning on fucking shit up.
But could be useful or frustrating because at the same time you might feel you need to act a certain way to be accepted by Lauren. I wouldn't say I do.
Oh,
Or at times you could perceive that she's criticizing you, even if she's done nothing to make you feel this way. This very much sounds like that romantic one you found. In response to this pattern, you could be extra sensitive around her or take things personally.
do you know, my next one is this as well, and it says it with you saying that about it. It says it in the same way yours does. It says Gemma Louise takes you seriously as a friend. It is still in that direction.
There you go. So that one.
So it's very much you. I've got a trials one here, intense but powerful.
Okay, I've got security healing.
Ooh. Mine says your friendship with Gemma Louise could feel especially meaningful, like it has the potential to change your future. At the same time, her presence could make you feel uncomfortable. Gemma Louise might unintentionally bring up your fears and anxieties. Ironic.
Yeah.
Or something about the dynamic could make you shut down and feel unable to share your truth with her. I wonder why. This influence may bring up strong feelings that trigger you in ways that make you reactive. Although this pattern may not always be easy, it has the potential to help you live more authentically by highlighting the places where you're unsure of yourself or who you're becoming.
Oh, well,
Basically, you forced me to properly look at myself.
I'll take that, babes.
I would say that's probably a good thing, even if it's like a rubbish thing at the time. I think I don't think I ever feel like that about you, but I could also see how our friendship does that.
Yeah. But we go deep on shit.
You do go deep, yeah.
It's almost like we have a whole podcast about not holding back and telling people shit that we wouldn't normally say out loud.
Oh my god, we should do that. That'd be a great idea. I've got
Um,
security feeling as well. Read it
oh,
out.
you have?
Yeah, go
Okay.
on.
Lauren's bringing attention to any vulnerability concerning your career or public life so that you can overcome your fears. Her influence also affects your sense of home and security. At times, this dynamic may feel painful or uncomfortable, but facing your wounds is how you can ultimately heal them. If there's any lingering pain from a separation, abandonment, or betrayal in your past, Lauren can help you move past it. She's helping you come to terms with what's holding you back from feeling at home within yourself and out in the world.
How funny is that after that tarot reading we've just had with Emily as well?
I know.
That's so poignant. We've just
That really
we've
is.
just recorded an episode just in the break just now. That's why we had to stop with Solar Sister Tarot and Gemma's tarot. We both had card pulls, and Gemma's was very much indicative of what she just read out, which was really interesting. Mine says here about that I might be opening you up to new experiences you wouldn't normally have. You're helping each other see sides. You're helping her, see sides of herself that she may have missed. At times she might feel confused, but she also might feel like more possibilities are becoming available. It's all very like we help each other in a very deep way.
Didn't we just?
We are very deep though. You said that. We are very deep. We do talk about like real shit, don't we?
Yeah. And
So
did you
many...
get personal and thoughtful?
No. Oh no,
It
I did.
says,
No, I
that
did.
we prioritize our friendship. That one.
I've got strong pull, and it says there's an incredible potential between you and Gemma Louise as friends. Right away, you probably felt drawn to each other. You're positive influences for each other because you're helping to bring new experiences and pushing each other forward. See, that's it. That's why we're healing all the shit. Because we're, it also says we have really comfortable communication with each other.
Yeah.
I think this is very accurate between me and you, honestly.
I agree.
I love that. I love this app. For anyone that hasn't downloaded it, the pattern, feel free. And also, if you want to be my friend, because I'm nosy and then I can find out about you.
Yeah, same. I'm into this now. Yeah, I'm gonna get Ben to download it and I'm gonna see if we're romantically compatible. If not, then I might be having to sack him off and then you and me can run away and get a house together, like we said.
Can I just say,
yeah,
the similarities and differences. Oh, actually, I haven't ran that between me and you. Let me have a look quickly. The similarities and differences between you might be really like there might be loads, but that doesn't mean that you are a bad match. So me and you are only 28% the same.
Where do you do that?
If you click friends bottom right and then click on me. I had to search you again because you didn't come up on my list for some reason.
You've not come up on mine.
Just search Lauren April and I'll come up straight away because you've already added me. 28% the same. So it says we're somewhat similar, but mostly different. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not compatible because we're really good, but we're very different. It's very fascinating. I would recommend 10 out of 10, the pattern. And then if you want to add me, do. My name's Lauren April and I'll accept your friend request and we'll see if we're compatible as friends.
And mine's Gemma L. James, same as my Instagram handle.
There you go. Mine's nearly
And
the same as my Instagram.
I will also be your friend.
There you go. Well, thanks for listening to this podcast episode that was in the end a little bit bitty, but you know what? It was great. I enjoyed it.
We're here for it though.
And we will be back with a guest next week. I don't know who that guest is yet because I have no idea where we're up to, but come back next week for a guest on Wednesday. Goodbye.
Thank you very much for listening.
It's very official.
I'm very official.
Sorry, you are. Take you seriously.